Hello, how are you doing? Hope you're good. So after the last lesson, we discussed about what is technology, right? So today we're talking about the internet. Have you thought about the internet? The fact that you could send message, make WhatsApp call, send that email, and it goes to the other person's phone. Have you thought about how it goes? Most of us want to think about internet. We say, yes, it's a satellite. Unfortunately, that is not the case. I will find out how the internet works. So today we'll be talking about how the internet works to understand how it works. We also talk about networks, connectivity, and the Internet of Things, and how it empowers us to leverage technology in a very connected world. So, the internet. What is the internet? Internet is not a single entity, but it's a network of networks, if that makes sense. So, it makes it very robust and it can easily be scalable, which means we can either increase or reduce, if that makes sense. So the concept of data packets, routing is the same as sending letter. If when we're much younger, most of us don't send letter now. But then you write letters, you go get a stamp, you go to post office, there's an address, and you write that letter to anybody in any part of the world and you expect them to get it. It just will take a while there, but they do get it. That's actually how internet works, but in a much faster way. Internet is a global network of interconnected computers and devices that communicate using standardized set of protocol. At its core, it relies on transmission control protocol, or IP, Internet Protocol. We would say what it means, and it has some rules and standards that govern how the data is transmitted and received across network. Just like the letter had some rules, there's a way you have to write the address if you don't want them to lose your letter or your parcel. There's a way you need to write the country code, the country, and things like that. Then most of us never got used to using the letter, because by the time we grew up, there was phone. At least you had someone in your street that you could make calls with, I guess. So the internet, as we said, is a global network of interconnected computers and devices, and it communicates through standardized protocol. And this works through system of data transmission routing. So when you access a website or send an email, the device will send a request to a server through your internet service provider. So whatever is giving you the internet, where you are getting your internet either through MTN, or you have Wi-Fi in your house, or there's Ethernet cable, and the request is then routed through various networks until it reaches the server, or in this case the address that you are sending your message to get what you need, and the message will be sent back to you. So let's talk about exactly how does this internet work. We started this and we said we probably have imagined that if I am on my phone and I wanted to send an email, you send out that email and it goes to a satellite, and the satellite you just send it to the person you are sending the email. Yes, that could work, but then it doesn't work because satellite has a very low bandwidth. So meaning it can't reach a lot of people at the same time fast. So it's very slow, it's going to take time, and of course it cannot handle large amount or size of data that we move. So how exactly does it work? If you can remember, some few weeks ago, there was a time most of us lost internet, and we heard that one cable somewhere in the ocean caught, and that was why all of us did not have internet. If it didn't happen to you, it happened to someone close to you, right? It didn't happen to only those in Nigeria. It affected people in Africa, South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, and some other countries. It affected us because of that. So that should give you an idea. So that means this thing is not in the air the way we think. Internet actually walks through multiple fiber optic cables. These cables are very thick and they crosses under the ocean around the world. So it's a whole network of cables that crosses under the ocean, which is why the one that is supplying us caught and we had an issue. So let's just run through how it works. So the fiber optic cable comes from those stations and moves under the oceans. And when it comes to the shore, that is what we have called the landing station on the shores of the ocean. So this cable lands there, right? So from there, it circulates to the entire continent. So that's where the first network of network that we've talked about. So let's talk about how it works. So let's say you saw this video on YouTube and you want to watch it. You clicking on it is you sending a message, and that message you've sent is going to go to the data center that on a server. Now, I talked about IP initially, and that's called IP address. All of us have IP address. Every device you own has an IP address. Your phone has one, your laptop has one, that your printer that can connect to internet has one. So every device has an IP address. Just like we talked about the letter thing, which is like your normal address. This IP address is a set of numbers. It can be something like 216.58.217.36. I think that's one for Google. But if you look at it, that's difficult for us to remember, right? So we talk about how it works. So now this IP address, you that it's sending it, that your phone that is sending it has one. The server that contains that this video you want to watch is saved on also has one. So once it comes up, this IP address that you've gone to your www.google or www.youtube/ that video that you want to watch, there is a lot of things that happen in the background. And that's where what we call the DNS system comes in. It works like phone book. So what he does is he goes and checks like how you have your phone book. The 083788 blah 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 belongs to Ikechukwu, right? So it goes at the background, finds out what is the IP address of this device and what is the IP address that this device is aiming to retrieve information from or send information to. Are you following me so far? Okay, so once it gets that, it's going to move through the fiber optic cable to get to the server close to that and retrieve the information. And once it has retrieved that information, so which is the part we're interested in, how do we get back to you? It's going to move as light pulses through the fiber optic cables. As the way this moves, it moves in binary. So for every image and things are all in zeros and ones. Or that might be a little bit complex, but just understand it moves in light pulses through those fiber optic cables. The one I said that goes under the ocean, right? So it comes to that landing station, and how do you not get it in your phone? So it's going to move through electrical signals, either through internet cable from that landing station. If you have internet cable or Wi-Fi, it comes to you. But let's say you are using mobile networks like your MTN, Glo, Airtel. So how does that get to you? So it goes through that whole process. It gets to the landing station, gets through the electrical signals, but to the closest mast, those tall things that we have, that we know that this one belongs to MTN, that's why I have network or something like that. So it goes to the mast that is closest to you, and that's we emit it to you through electromagnetic waves. Does that make sense? So let's go through what each of these components is, as we've just sort of gone through how it works. So it goes through the wires and to the landing station, and from the landing station through electrical signals to you, either through your router or your Wi-Fi, or through electromagnetic waves from those internet antennas or masts. Okay, so first component is the device and network, and that is the billions of devices worldwide. It includes your smartphones, your computers, the servers, the routers, and a lot more. Also, these devices are linked through different types of network, either your local area network or the wide area network, and of course the internet itself. Then the data transmission, as we said. So when you send or receive data over the internet, it's actually broken into smaller packets, and this packet contains a portion of the data and along with the addressing information. So imagine you send that parcel to that post office. It's too much, and they break it into small pieces, and each one has the address of where it's going to, if that makes sense. Now, also the routers are very crucial, that are very important in internet infrastructure, because they receive these data packets and determine the best path for them to reach their destination. The protocols, as we've said, the IP address, okay, the various protocols are used for different purposes. So if you are on the web, you most likely will work with the hypertext transfer protocol, the HTTP. If you look at the address bar in your computer, most likely you'll see this. Most times you have to have S, which simply means if that website is secured or not. Or if it's simple, mail transfer protocol for our email address, and the FTPs for file transfer, and so on. Of course, the DNS, we talked about the DNS, right? So the DNS, as I told you earlier, was like the phone book. So when you open that your website, that is www.kingsleyempire.com, it has an IP address. And when someone wants to visit your website and they type that, DNS helps to go pull out what is the address that the computer understands that belongs to kingsleyempire.com. As humans, it will be difficult for us to remember this number, so we came up with this to make it easy for us. It's easy for us to remember www.google.com, .facebook.com, .youtube.com, and all that, than to remember all those numbers with the dots. Also, the internet service providers, this play a crucial role in providing us, the individuals, organizations, firms, institutions, with access to the internet, because most of us on our own do not have the infrastructure to be able to access this internet. And the www, the World Wide Web. You know, there is a fun fact. The World Wide Web is actually the only, word phrase in this world where the abbreviation takes longer to pronounce than the meaning itself. Try it. World Wide Web. www. Let's get back to the class. It's actually a major component of the internet, consisting of websites, web pages, and these are accessed from web browsers, whichever one is common for you that you use. Most of us use Google Chrome now, maybe because it's easily linked to our Gmails, the Google Drive, and all. Now we've talked about how the internet works, and hopefully you understand. But if you don't, you can just quickly do a YouTube chat. Search to see videos. There are a lot of animated videos that will make it easy for you to understand. So networks. So when we say networks, when it comes to internet, what do we mean? Network simply is a collection of devices such as computers, printers, your phone, your servers, and they are connected to each other to share resources like files or internet connections, like how you hotspot your laptop and your tab from your phone, things like that, and of course communications. Networks are classified based on their size or geographical coverage. So I mentioned something about the LANs, which is local area networks. This is confined to a small area like home. Now let's say you have this in your house, your siblings, your parents, maybe your friends, and all of you, your phones and laptop and all are all connected together. That's the local area network. You can also have that. Most of us use it in our offices if you do a corporate job, and campuses. For those of you, I know UNN have things like that. I'm sure most universities do have now. So the wide area network is wider. It covers a large area. So, and it may connect different local area network, or it's just collection of different devices in a large area or a large geographical area, and it can have routers, switches, modem that will help us with communication and also manage data traffic. So connectivity. So when we say connectivity, what exactly does that mean? It simply means the ability of device to connect and communicate with each other. It can be achieved through wired connection like Ethernet cable. Some of you might not know, but there are some people that is aware of it, that are those people that get internet in their house through a cable. how will I explain this? Like how you, through a cable, it's not through a router or through MTN. There is a wire that came into their house, and that's why they have internet, right? Or it can be wireless in terms of Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or cellular network. Each device I've mentioned is assigned with an IP address, and this acts as a unique identifier for the communication within the network. Or back to our postal analogy, that is the unique address. There shouldn't be two addresses in the world. Even if it's the same number, 5 Ikoku Street, if one is in Nnewi, the other one is probably in Enugu. So meaning it's not the same address, something changed. So there is no two address, or there shouldn't be two addresses. That's the same way IP address works.